Hi everybody, the Aadmi Party is one of the most powerful political parties in India today.
Aadmi Party has clinched more than 2/3 of the 70 seats in New Delhi's legislative polls.
कई सालों के बाद आज पंजाब को पहली बार एक ईमानदार मुख्यमंत्री मिला है।
पंजाब में अरविंद केजरीवाल की जीत और इससे राष्ट्रीय राजनीति का एक बड़ा नेता केजरीवाल बन गए।
The Aam Aadmi Party that can take on the BJP and defeat the BJP and is the alternative to the BJP, whether it's at the municipal level or whether it's at a national level.
And like we saw in the previous Aam Aadmi Party episode, Arvind Kejriwal came out of nowhere and used a genius marketing strategy to beat a 3-time chief minister to become the CM of Delhi.
तो मौका चुनाव का हो और वो भी दिल्ली का। अरविंद केजरीवाल यहाँ पर अगले मुख्यमंत्री बनने वाले हैं।
अरविंद केजरीवाल,
मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है सच की जीत होगी, जनता की जीत होगी,
जनता का
और इस बार पूर्ण बहुमत के साथ दिल्ली के अंदर आम आदमी की सरकार बनने जा रही है।
Arvind Kejriwal has won from the New Delhi constituency with over 22,000 votes.
अरविंद केजरीवाल मुख्यमंत्री के तौर पर क्या लगता है?
सरकार बना रहे हैं, उनको मुबारकबाद है और शुभकामनाएं देती।
And even though he couldn't pass the lokpal bill, he still became the CM of Delhi again in 2020. While some call him the freebie king of India, others call him a revolution in the making. But no matter what people say, one thing for sure is that Arvind Kejriwal is a powerful force in the Indian political battle. And by the look of it, he has become more powerful than the Indian National Congress. This is the reason why he is important not just for the citizens of Delhi, but for every citizen in the country. But the real question over here is Arvind Kejriwal really doing something revolutionary or is he faking his revolution? What promises did the Aam Aadmi Party make to the people of Delhi? Which promises have actually been fulfilled? What are the promises that are still pending? And most importantly, how did they perform as compared to the Congress in Delhi? Before we move on, I would like to thank Traya Health for partnering with us because they have genuinely helped a lot of Indians get better hair and better confidence. Did you know that Delhi scored 5.4 in the health index amongst other metropolitan cities, giving it a rank of 11? Kolkata followed at 21st position with a score of 5.2, Chennai was 67th with a score of 4.6, while Mumbai ranked 76th with a score of 4.5. Now this health index measures the overall health and well-being of a population by considering factors like life expectancy and access to healthcare. So Delhi might look like a better performing city here, but in the bigger picture, the question is this enough? Do you know every second guy below the age of 30 is complaining about facing initial signs of hair loss or early baldness? But why am I mentioning this? Well, more often than not, it is related to internal reasons like your diet or nutrition, hormones, lifestyle diseases like cholesterol, diabetes and whatnot. And here's where I read about Traya, which is the first ever hair loss solution company in India that treats hair fall internally by identifying the root cause of your hair health problems. And they do that with their free hair test, and then they give you a customized hair growth routine backed by doctors. You know, a lot of Indian men do not know that genetic hair loss can be managed. You just need the right treatment and Traya can help you with that. You can get started with Traya, which is 3 simple steps. Download the Traya app, take the free hair test, buy your 1-month customized kit and get started with your free diet plans and a hair coach to see results in just 5 months. Cherry on the cake, you can use my code 20TS to get 20% off on your purchase. So just like the BJP report card, we've prepared an Aam Aadmi Party report card. And while we discuss the most important promises in the video, I am attaching a document with all of the promises and their status in the description. So read the document and form your own opinion on the basis of data and not propaganda. To simplify things, I have categorized the most important promises into 6 categories: political, welfare and social security, women's security, environment, infrastructure and economic indicators. So let's start with the political promises first. In political promises, the Aam Aadmi Party promised to bring full statehood for Delhi and promised to pass the lokpal bill.
जनता से हमारा वादा है।
आज 2 साल हो गए इन्होंने लोकपाल बिल पास नहीं किया। 4 दिसंबर को दिल्ली विधानसभा के चुनाव होने वाले हैं। आम आदमी पार्टी का जीतना लगभग तय हो चुका है। 29 दिसंबर को दिल्ली विधानसभा का स्पेशल सत्र रामलीला मैदान के अंदर बुलाएंगे और सारी दिल्ली के लोगों के सामने वही लोकपाल बिल पास किया जाएगा जिसके लिए अन्ना हजारे को 13 दिन का अनशन करना पड़ा था।
This was the core reason why Aam Aadmi Party was founded in the first place. So unfortunately, the Aam Aadmi Party failed in its main promise because they got stuck in a political battle between the state and the center. Now, if we dig deep into it, then we'll get into a political battle case study and we will miss the report card. So I will give you all the documents in the description so that you can again read and form your own opinion. If this is very, very clear to you, let's start with the second category, which is welfare and social security. In 2015 and 2019 manifestos, the Aam Aadmi Party made some bold promises regarding education and healthcare revolution in Delhi.
आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार बनने के बाद हर सरकारी अस्पताल के अंदर सारी दवाइयां मिलेंगी।
So the question is, how true are these claims? Well, firstly, they said that they will create 900 new primary health centers and 30,000 more beds in Delhi hospitals, out of which 4,000 were to be in the maternity wards. Secondly, they said Delhi will abide by the international norm of 5 beds for every 1,000 people. So the question is, what is the status of these promises? Well, as of 2023, Delhi has in total created 783 clinics, including the Aam Aadmi Mohalla clinics, Mahila Mohalla clinic, allopathy dispensary, primary urban health centers and polyclinics. So 783 out of the 900 clinics have already been built. And when it comes to beds, 14,000 beds have been built as compared to 30,000 beds promised. Similarly, while they promised to increase the number of beds to 5 per 1,000 people, according to a World Health Organization report, as of 2020, Delhi had 2.9 beds per 1,000 people. So because this is a 2020 data, I am hoping that from 2020 to 2023, they have added more beds to Delhi. So if any AAP leader is watching this episode, please share the updated bed count from a relevant source and we will attach it in the pinned comment. Then as you can see in this graph, Aam Aadmi Party has aggressively spent on healthcare, and this expenditure during the Aam Aadmi Party regime has increased at a CAGR of 20%, whereas during the Congress regime, it was increasing at just 14%. So overall, the budget for healthcare is increasing and the government has fulfilled almost 50% of its promises. And this brings us to the second promise, which is education. You see, in the 2015 manifesto, the Aam Aadmi Party promised to build 500 new schools with a special focus on secondary and senior secondary schools. And their vision was to ensure that every Delhi child must have easy access to quality education. Apart from schools, Aam Aadmi Party also promised to build 20 new colleges in Delhi. And they also envisioned a system where, after 12th standard, if anyone needs a loan for higher education, regardless of their financial background, they must be eligible for a loan up to 10 lakh rupees. This was to be done under a higher education and skill development guarantee scheme, with the government itself being as a guarantor. Now, if we look at the percentage of these promises that have been fulfilled, AAP has not built 500 new schools, but they've added 20,000 new classrooms and built 60 new schools. So they say that 20,000 classrooms is equivalent to 500 schools. And if you look at the student classroom ratio, it has drastically improved from 1:66 to 1 classroom per 45 students. And just like healthcare, the education budget has increased at a CAGR of 22% during the first term as compared to just 13% during the Congress regime. This says that AAP is investing very heavily into healthcare and education, and this is a great thing. This is the status of the claims made by the Aam Aadmi Party for health and education. Apart from this, the Delhi government also promised Tirth Yatras and several other welfare schemes. I will attach the list of these schemes in the description, and then you can decide whether such schemes are needed or they can be called as freebies. But anyways, let's move on to the next major section, which is women's safety. And unfortunately, the capital of our country is one of the most terrible places for women. So the question is, what has the Aam Aadmi Party done to make Delhi safer for women? Well, before that, one important thing to note is that the Delhi government does not have full control over the police force. So Aam Aadmi Party alone is not responsible for the security of women in Delhi. Even the central government is responsible for this. But nonetheless, the Aam Aadmi Party promised to set up 10,000 Mahila Suraksha Dal or Women Protection Force along with 5,000 bus marshals to prevent harassment on the streets of Delhi. Secondly, they promised to give SOS emergency system on all the phones. And this is something that the women can use in times of emergency. And lastly, they promised CCTVs on roadsides and buses to cover most of Delhi. So more force, SOS system and more surveillance. These were the promises made by the Aam Aadmi Party. If this is clear, let's check the status of these promises. As it turns out, the Aam Aadmi Party has managed to deploy 8,000 bus marshals, cameras have been installed in 96% of the buses, and today Delhi is ranked first in terms of the number of cameras per square mile. This is because Delhi today has 1,826.6 CCTV cameras per square mile. Plus, they've also started schemes to have proper street lighting in parts of Delhi so that women feel safer. So, in spite of not having complete control over the police, the Aam Aadmi Party has done everything in their capacity to make Delhi safer for women. So for this, I will give them 100% credit. But you know what, guys? In spite of all these efforts, India's capital Delhi is still the most unsafe city for women. Even today, Delhi is number 1 in India when it comes to the rate of FIRs for crimes against women in 2022. And out of all the CCTVs installed on any given day, 10% remain offline due to multiple reasons. This is the status of women's security in Delhi and what the Aam Aadmi Party has done to improve women's safety in Delhi. If this is very clear to you, let's move to the next category, and that is infrastructure. To simplify this section, I have divided infrastructure into 3 major categories: electricity, water and public transport. So let's start with electricity. The Aam Aadmi Party made a commitment to the people of Delhi that they would slash the electricity bills by 50%.
बिजली का बिल 0 एक ही आदमी कर सकता है, केजरीवाल। वादा है दिल्ली के लोगों को, जिस रेट पे आज आपको बिजली मिल रही है, इससे आधे रेट के ऊपर 24 घंटे बिजली दिलवाएंगे।
And guess what? They've actually delivered on their promise. Delhi residents now enjoy a zero power bill up to 200 units, and those consuming 200 to 400 units per month get a 50% off capped at 850 rupees. But the catch over here is that there are 2 issues with this subsidy. Number one, as it turns out, although a lot of poor people are benefiting because they consume less than 200 units, a lot of middle class people who do not need this subsidy are also benefiting due to a 50% discount between 200 to 400 unit consumption. Now you might say, bro, so what if middle class people are benefiting? Are you anti-middle class? No guys, I am not anti-middle class. It's just that when people who can afford to pay their bills get benefited, then the taxpayers' money, which is again middle class money, goes into less useful things like subsidizing the electricity bill than more important things like building bridges and roads. Secondly, the electricity distributors, which are known as DISCOMs, they had to first give these discounts to the consumers and then get reimbursements from the government. But because most of the time the government was not able to reimburse the subsidy amount on time, now these DISCOMs are facing financial problems. So people are happy, but the system is not sustainable in the long run as of now. And this brings us to the last promise in the electricity segment, which is the promise that AAP made to transform Delhi into a solar city. So if you see their target, the ambition was to meet 20% of Delhi's energy needs through solar power by 2025. However, as of 2023, solar energy only contributes 9% of Delhi's total energy needs. So it's quite difficult for them to achieve 20% by 2025. But even then, it's not right to comment on this until 2025 comes in. So we will wait for 2025. But in conclusion, while there have been commendable efforts in reducing electricity bills, there are areas where AAP needs to improve its execution. If this is clear, then let's move on to the second issue under infrastructure, and that is water. The first promise that AAP made was to provide water as a fundamental right with the aim of universal access to clean drinking water for all Delhi residents. And their ambition was to cover all parts of the city irrespective of their legal status, which means even unauthorized colonies should get water. But if you look at the status, it's not so good. In spite of Delhi requiring 3.3 billion litres of water per day, the government can only supply 2.034 billion litres per day. Furthermore, out of the 1,742 unauthorized colonies, only 251 have received piped water. Now this shortfall says that there is considerable gap in achieving universal water access. So this promise has not been fulfilled. And if you're wondering whether it is right to provide water access to illegal colonies, I must tell you that I am in no position to tell you whether providing access to clean water to poor people is important or the legality of residence is important. To me, this is a major conflict between humanity and legality. So as citizens of Delhi, you take a call on that. If this is clear, let's move on to the second promise in the water section. You see, Aam Aadmi Party also vowed to provide each household with up to 20,000 litres of free water monthly. and this ambitious goal has surprisingly been fulfilled. The only catch over here is that a lot of people are misusing this supply, because of which water is not reaching all housing societies. So while the aim of the scheme was to reduce consumption by offering free water up to a certain limit, what people are doing is that after using free 20,000 liters that they get, the societies are drawing up groundwater in huge quantities to meet their additional requirements. So this over-reliance on groundwater is leading to a significant depletion of the water table in Delhi. And I don't know if you know this, but Delhi's groundwater condition is not at all good. So if this continues for a long time, Delhi might face a water crisis. This is the state of Aam Aadmi Party's promises with water in Delhi. And this brings us to the last set of promises in infrastructure, which is public transport. In this, firstly, our promise to turn Delhi Metro into the world's largest metro network by increasing the network to more than 500 kilometers. But as of today, the total length of the metro network in Delhi is only 392 kilometers. Secondly, they promised last mile connectivity for citizens with metro stations, with feeder buses and e-autos. And as of 2022, 85 such buses are already running and e-autos are coming in the near future. So this promise has been partially fulfilled. This is what completes our analysis of the Aam Aadmi Party for infrastructure in Delhi. And this brings us to the next segment, which is environment. And we all know why it is absolutely critical for Delhi.
It's one of the world's most polluted cities, India's capital, Delhi.
Especially this is really dangerous to newborns, first of all, and secondly to malnourished children. I definitely feel this is a sort of a medical emergency.
Pollution tends to increase with the onset of winter. And this is what Delhi looks like a day after Diwali.
Even through this mask, the air already smells burnt and it tastes metallic.
Delhi's air quality is worse in the morning and evening during winter months.
Now we all know that Delhi is one of the most polluted cities in the world. While the air pollution is killing the lungs of Delhi residents, the condition of Yamuna River is so bad that its water is unfit for drinking. So the question over here is, what did the Aam Aadmi Party government do to solve this problem? Well, one of the key promises of the Aam Aadmi Party was to revive the Yamuna River, which is the lifeline of Delhi. And you would be shocked to know that the sewage of Delhi directly flows into Yamuna without any treatment. This is the reason why the Aam Aadmi Party promised 100% collection and treatment of Delhi sewage with new sewage treatment plants, or STPs. So the question over here is, what is the condition of sewage treatment in Delhi? Well, unfortunately, the city generates 792 million gallons of sewage per day. But the existing STPs can only treat 667 million gallons per day. But the problem is that this 667 million is also 100% capacity. And these plants are currently operating at just 71% capacity. So out of the 792 million gallons of sewage, only 565 million are being treated. And the rest, 227 million gallons, are going directly into the Yamuna River, and that too completely untreated. So this is where the Aam Aadmi Party needs to level up very, very urgently. Similarly, the Aam Aadmi Party also promised to improve waste management in Delhi, but as of now, only 30% of Delhi's waste is segregated at source. And lastly, the Aam Aadmi Party promised to reduce the air pollution in Delhi by 33%. And fortunately, they've been successful in this. In 2022, Delhi experienced 206 days with air quality outside the poor category, which is less than 201 AQI. Whereas in 2015, only for 109 days, Delhi's air quality was below 200. So in summary, with water, the government has not been so successful, but with air pollution, the government has been successful. But the point to be noted over here is that Delhi is still a toxic gas chamber which needs to improve its air quality index by a large extent. So Aam Aadmi Party, or whichever party comes to power, they need to keep working on this until we achieve a consistent AQI of below 100. If this is very, very clear to you, let's move on to the last and final category, and that is economic indicators. Now, the point to be noted over here before we delve deep into economic indicators is that we cannot compare Delhi's numbers with other states. So we thought it is better to compare the economic indicators of Delhi under Congress versus Aam Aadmi Party, because that is the closest we can come to a fair comparison. So we are taking three major indicators to check how the Aam Aadmi Party government has performed economically. These indicators are debt to GSDP ratio, interest payments to revenue receipts, and fiscal deficit. Let's start with debt. During the Congress regime in 2011 and 12, the state government had an outstanding debt of 29,608 crore rupees, which was equal to 8.62% of the gross state domestic product. And on the other hand, as of 2022, Delhi's outstanding debt stood at 41,481.5 crores, which is equal to just 4.59% of his gross state domestic product. Now, I don't know if you realize this, but in spite of giving freebies, this is an outstanding economic indicator. Then we looked at interest payments to revenue receipts, which means we checked how much of the state's revenue is actually going into interest payments. So if the government has to pay a lot of its revenue in interest to the banks, it means that the government is bleeding due to past debts and it is not able to get enough money to invest in future projects. Now, if you look at the interest payments to revenue receipts ratio between Congress and Aam Aadmi Party, you will see that the ratio declined from 13.03% to just 6.64% from 2011 to 2022. And this is some brilliant work done by the Aam Aadmi Party government. And lastly, as per the CAG report, Delhi's financial situation actually saw quite a turnaround. Back in 2013-14, there was a fiscal deficit of about 3,942 crores, which means the government was spending 3,942 crores more than it was earning in tax and non-tax revenue. But fast forward to 2017-18, Delhi actually had a fiscal surplus of 113 crores. And all of this happened during the time of the Aam Aadmi Party. So without a doubt, the Aam Aadmi Party has performed brilliantly as compared to Congress. This was the performance review of the Aam Aadmi Party for Delhi for the last 9 years. And as usual, instead of giving you my own opinion and clouding you with my bias, I want you to read through the documents that I've attached below and you tell me in the comments how you think the Aam Aadmi Party has performed in Delhi. And if you live in Delhi, please drop a comment about what you think about the government and what has the government done to improve your life. That's all from my side for today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.